We're going to start in Virginia tonight. That's where Attorney General Mark Herring is taking new steps in order to protect you at the polls. Herring wrote to members of law enforcement and other election officials today, giving them examples of voter intimidation and ways to stop it. So, what do you need to know if you feel like you're being harassed while voting? I put that question to the AG. Here's more of our conversation. Talking to Attorney General Mark Herring. Have you seen evidence of voter intimidation? I mean, you sent out a letter, so you've got some concern here, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me make it real clear about this. Free and fair elections are the foundation and bedrock of our democracy. And voter harassment, voter intimidation, that is completely contrary to those principles. And the president has had said some pretty incendiary rhetoric in the last few weeks, particularly during the presidential debate a couple of weeks ago, seemingly encouraging supporters to go to the polls and perhaps engage in voter intimidation or be disruptive. And I wanted to make it clear to everyone in Virginia that that will not be tolerated. Voter intimidation, voter harassment is illegal. There are protections in both state and federal law. So voters can know that they can go vote and that they will be safe, they will be secure, and we will have smooth elections in Virginia.
Yeah, that's reassuring, Mark, but you sent the letter to, among other people, law enforcement. Did you feel you had to, underscore to law enforcement to do their job?
Well, it's more about making sure that they know that there are tools available both to elections officials and law enforcement if necessary, that if a situation arises, there are tools available to them to take appropriate action. We did see an incident a couple of days into the early voting in Virginia outside of Fairfax at the Fairfax Government Center there. And, I wanted to put a stop to that and make sure that everyone knows voter intimidation, voter harassment is illegal, and that voters know that they will be safe, they will be protected, and that if an incident does arise, no matter where it is, the elections officials and local law enforcement know that there are tools they can use in order to make sure that people are safe.
Okay, just one piece of direct advice to voters out there. If you feel as though you've been harassed, if you're being intimidated, what's the one thing you should do immediately?
Well, if you are at a polling location and you feel threatened or intimidated, let the elections official know about it. You can also report suspected incidents of it through the Department of Elections website and a hotline phone number they have.
Go vote first, then report it, right?
Yeah, I would suggest that, there's been a lot of anxiety around this, and I would just encourage people to channel that emotion into a positive experience of voting. And if you do experience something that you feel uncomfortable about, report it to the elections official.
Okay, Mark Herring, Virginia Attorney General. Mark, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.